Yeah, yeah. Roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast scene. Talking Burton Bogies, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, putt, and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Got my clubs in the trunk, blunt in the front. Tee off in the noon, cause we don't bunt. Discuss in the course, weed strains for lunch. Straight shooters on the greens, not a front. Pitch, put and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Smoking aces, laces tied tight. With a puff we fly, elevate the night. Golf ball soaring, higher than a kite. Fairway to heaven, shining real bright. Pitch, put and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pitch, Putt, and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, aka RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Before we get rolling with our guest tonight, we're going to take a quick second to give a shout out to a few sponsors, starting off with Back Nine Botanicals. Make sure you guys go check them out. Back9botanicals.com. Use promo code TPUF10. Will save you 10% at checkout. They got all the CBD needs you're looking for, from the Tea Time Sunrise to the Birdie Boost, as well as the Moonlight Mulligan when you're looking for something for sleep. They got the rub-on stick, the muscle and joint therapy stick. Check them out over there. And don't forget the new shooters. They got the THC shooters here. They got the tropical, and they got the orange. So Back Nine Botanicals keeps coming out with new things. Keep an eye out over there. Always got new things coming out, new flavors, new items. So they also have some merch with some hats and some t-shirts. Back9botanicals.com. Use promo code TPUF10. Also, guys over at Athletic, ATHLETHC.com. They got the 2 milligram mints. Perfect for any point throughout your day. They got the power, the flow, and the rebound. Same thing. Anything for any point during your day, you're going to have you need a little boost. You get into that power, get that energy going before you get into the gym, or just the flow of some everyday activity. So go check them out. ATHLETHC.com. Use promo code PUFF to get yourself a special discount over there. And then last but not least, we got my man Marty over at Trouble Off the Tee, TroubleOffTheTee.com. Use promo code PUFF20. PUFF20 will save you 20%. He's got a dope line of hats. He's got the Camel Chasing. We got the Scratch Golfer, as well as Never Lay Up. So go support Marty and the crew over at Trouble Off the Tee. Don't forget to check out the audiobook available on Spotify and Audible. TroubleOffTheTee.com. Promo code PUFF20 will save you 20% at checkout. Going to take a quick break here, and we're going to bring on our homegirl, Caddie Magic. And we're back here on the Pitch, Putt, and Puff. Once again, my name is RGB, and joining me, we have Megan Michelle, Miss Caddie Magic. Appreciate your time and joining the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
So I came, like I was saying before, I came across your page a few weeks ago. Noticed some golf content, obviously, with the caddy side of things and the Magic side. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how the whole page started and what you're doing with the page?
Yeah, the page used to be Travel with Caddie. It started because in December of 2020, so going into the new year of 2021, I flew to New York, Rome, actually, and flew into Syracuse and then took an Uber to Rome. But I bought a school bus, a little 22-foot long, 1999 yellow school bus in the snow on New Year's Eve. So like everything was closed down. I bought the school bus. I handed over $5,000 cash and then proceeded to drive back to Charlotte, North Carolina. And I started that page just to track and share my progress of converting the school bus. I bought it and was converting it with the intention of living in it full time and traveling the country playing golf. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina, in an apartment by myself at the time. I was like really feeling the itch. I was like, everything around me is just it's not doing it for me. It's not like scratching my kink, my creative kink for life, for joy, for bliss, which I wasn't really in like tune with at the time, but it was just like there was more, and the more was calling me greater than what was keeping me where I was, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep.
So I landed in a school bus. That page started with those travels. I converted it. I was sharing all of it. A little bit different than it looks now. A little less
Yep.
polished. A little more like bro. A little more throwing cigars and crushing Coors Lights. I was a big Coors Light girly at the time. I still ride hard for the Coors. I just, but yeah, so that page, it progressed. You know, I traveled and I did the bus thing and traveled the country, and now it kind of is starting to sort to like the magic side of it. Traveling in the bus was what really opened my eyes to the fact that magic is unavoidable if you put yourself in the way of it. And I was in the way of it every day. I was driving 60 miles an hour down the highway. Like
Yeah.
the magic had time to catch up, you know? So I don't know, to where it landed in Caddie Magic. I quit my job. I was a consultant in the tech world. I was, you know, had a really great job, paid well. I traveled, you know, for work, and I got to play golf whenever I wanted. I remember there was about a solid year where I took every conference call from the green. And I remember I would like mute the call, whether I was like in the middle of a presentation or whatever, it didn't matter. As long as I didn't have to share my screen, I'd mute myself, I'd put out, I'd hop back on, I'd have my headphones in, and I could like run an entire fucking meeting from the golf course. And I was like, okay, everything's perfect except for I hate having to distract myself. But I always made the most putts when I was on conference calls. So I was like, there's something to that, which now we're into like the mindset of it. But anyways, I'll kind of, land this plane a little. That progression of quitting my job and leaving the city and going out into the world and like finding the magic has now landed where my life is full-time golf and magic, which is what I wanted when I started that bus. I just had a completely different vision of how I was going to get there. I thought it was golf clothing and like coaching of some sort, which it is that. It just took a really kinky right turn, and it keeps like serpenting along the way. So now we're here talking about it.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like when you hopped in that bus and you started driving and all those miles driving across the country and everything else, like that's when it's like your spirit, like just you and you're being by yourself, the spirituality of the whole journey, like kind of really began for you?
I know exactly when it like really hit. It was in Bar Harbor, Maine. The whole journey of getting to Bar Harbor, there were like a series of things where I was just like, that's too weird. That's too weird. That's too weird. That's right on time. That's too perfectly on time. That was that intuitive impulse that I had to go here led to this entire fucking story that I still tell to this day. Like, that's too weird. That's too weird. And then like SpongeBob got woven into it. And that's when like the universe started really playing with me and getting really like, I love using the word kinky because it like activates this sacral chakra. It makes you think of like kind of sexual energy, but it's that charge, that like real fucking excitement when something like turns you on for just life, for like, I gotta go do that. I gotta get that. I just gotta, right? You'll rip through whatever to get it. That was when it really turned on for me in that way. It was in Bar Harbor, Maine. And then began the process of like, okay, I see you, magic. Come here. Like now, like show me something. Like if it really is real, if I really do have control of it, if I really have control over my reality, if I really control if my thoughts really control the physical, what I see in front of me, bet. Show me. So then I went on this like experiment. I quit my job and like really dove in, which led to like a whole other series of things. But that's kind of what really made me take it seriously, was fucking Bar Harbor, Maine, and a lobsterman. Just the purest heart and the most childlike joy. And he was the first like real activated masculine magic man that showed me that something that no other man had shown me, that and that's getting into a little bit of a different conversation, but he was just very pure and innocent and childlike and so joyful to share what he's created. And it was right at a perfect time when I needed it, like desperately. And it was a cabin looking at a mountain with a hot tub. And he was like, here, you need this. And I'm going to stay away because I want you to feel safe and comfortable. I don't want you to feel like I'm doing this so I can have you. Right. And that was where the magic, I was like, oh, okay. I've always believed that existed, but no one's really shown it. And so it really ignited something, and then that carried. And that was
Did you always have like that spiritual sense of like I noticed like in some of your videos like the crystals and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like were you always like to
A
like
crystal
magic or like
girl?
yeah, like
No,
stuff like that?
no, hell
No?
no. I was the opposite. I was like, that shit's just not, and it's not even that I like hated on it, but I just didn't. I grew up Christian. I was very like, that stuff was just dark and bad. I never questioned why, but I just sort of like put it over there,
Hmm.
as something that just wasn't what I just didn't relate to me.
Right. Wasn't the
Um,
vibe, right.
it wasn't, yeah. And I took a real back door. Like the way I started working with crystals was like my intuition or spirit, whatever people would like to call it, magic,
Hmm.
led me to find one in Sedona, that now is sitting in a mesa and being worked at an altar by another magic medicine man in San Antonio, Texas. So like it's come a long way since I found that. And God, that was New Year's Eve of it was in Sedona New Year's Eve of 2021. It was right before I came to Monterey for the first time. So the way I started working with like what you see online kind of about spirituality, the crystals, the
Hmm.
smudging, the smoking and stuff like that, it was very organic. I didn't go and buy crystals, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I didn't go and buy them and go that way. It was like it was
Right.
put very much in front of my face. And that's what I refer to like a mystery school. To me, that's what mystery school is when what you're manifesting or like working on energetically comes to form in reality. And that's where golf gets fun, because when you start working with this on the golf course, it's like no holes barred, like all bets are off.
Good, because I need some help with getting off the tee.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll have it after this, whatever you need it.
The manifestation though, that's a huge thing. Like I really truly
Yeah.
believe in that, to like where you really, when you put your mind to something, you can get it done. You truly
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And no matter what aspect of life it is. So when people sign up for Caddie Magic, like what should they expect from you?
Yeah, there's not really a sign up for Caddie Magic.
Okay.
It's all unfolding in real time, but I'm keeping it as I want it to make as little sense as possible, because that's the point. It's magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the messages I get, my DMs are clean. My energy field, like I put out a lot of energetic protection that keeps people back who are going to come and spray shit. The stuff
Right.
I post on my stories is pretty much the extent of it, and I like hang people's heads on posts so that like people don't talk shit. Like it
Right.
works.
Right.
And so, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Can you hand me back to where we were?
No, I was asking about like what could people expect from it, and then you were saying how
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Right now, what I'm working with is basically like people who message me for one reason or another. What I have is like this golf karma clearing. It's $69. The reason it's $69 is because obviously, a layer deeper than that, it also symbolizes balance,
hmm
between energies, right? This divine feminine, divine masculine. So we can laugh about it and joke about it, but it represents balance. Also, it's on Venmo, so like if you've got a partner and you share a bank account, you're gonna see it. So it's gonna look a little weird. You're probably gonna get questions about it. So you're not gonna do it if you feel sketchy about doing it. Like if you're coming in with an intention that's impure,
right.
then it kind of like keeps you back. So essentially, that's a way to play with Caddie Magic. It's a one-time initiation fee into Caddie Magic, and it's a frequency that it really what it is when people pay me that, it gives me consent to penetrate their field, as opposed to getting something from me. But that's how this ultimately what I'm teaching through Caddie Magic is, the like divine reciprocity, this art of energetic exchange, both on the golf course and between humans.
hmm
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I mean it does to me, because I'm into like the spiritual stuff with like
Yeah.
the vibrations and
Cool.
like all that kind of thing, the frequencies and stuff like that. So I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean it does, like even like just being grounded, like when you're out on the golf course, like that's a place of like you don't really worry about anything else. And like that 1/10 of a second you're focusing on the ball and actually taking that shot, that's the only thing you're thinking about. Like you actually have like a clear head, your head's in a clear space, and that's your focus. You're not worried about your cell phone or what anything else that's going on. Like you find some peace out there. Like that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what like being the Caddie Magic frequency does is it kind of envelops you in this protective bubble of my energy because I do this shit 24/7. Like I
Mm-hmm.
sleep very little. My Kundalini is very active. I don't like eat, sleep, drink like a regular human, just to put that out there. I
Yeah.
literally eat pancakes and sweets and I drink water because it's fun and I turn it into magic, I turn it into wine, right? But what that does is that first initial Caddie Magic dues is like it gets you into this frequency and it puts you in this protective bubble. So when you're in that space, that 10th of a second,
Mm-hmm.
if there is a moment of doubt or if there is, because that's kind of habitual. If
Yeah.
we're like, it's an injury. If your knee's injured and now it's healed, but you're like, you twitch when you go to like jump
Yep.
up because you're expecting it to hurt. Like that's our brain works the same way. They're neural pathways. And so when you're rewiring and building new, more positive or more affirming beliefs that you can hit every green, you can hit every fairway, you can make every putt. As you're rewiring those, my bubble protects you from loose, energetic, toxic shit flying around in the air because people are not very like protective of their energy. I don't know that that will really land for a lot of people, but it protects you. So if there is
Mm-hmm.
a moment where you let fear in or you let doubt in, I've got your back. And you're going to hear me in the back of your head saying, I make every putt.
Yep.
When you would normally hear like, oh, I usually fuck this up.
Yeah. Like, oh shit. And you'll think about
Mhm.
the shot you messed up in the last
Yeah.
hole opposed to just locking in on what you're doing.
Right. And even
Yeah.
if you miss that putt or if that shot isn't whatever, it's the rewiring process that is the long game that will serve you so much better, especially if it's something that's practiced. Even if in that one moment, it's going to make you stand a little taller. You're going to be like, oh, that's not that bad. Like, I barely
Yep.
missed. And now you've
Yep.
got a positive look on this instead of saying, oh, I always do that. And now you're just reaffirming this like wounding in your golf game. And this is like real. It's healing. It's healing
Right.
work. It's energy healing. But it's not something that's instantly gratifying, like buying a new driver and getting that 30 extra yards on the track
Right.
man. Which all like I'm not shitting on it, even though I don't actually mean it. There's
Right.
just there's ways to. I think that getting caught in that like equipment loop, it's just it's keeping you stuck in a less exciting way of playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
And you can buy new golf clubs, but like let's talk about magic first and get you like in this higher vibrational realm of creation and I'm not talking like church, like everything has to be fucking proper. I'm like, let's get kinky, let's get sloppy, let's
Mm-hmm.
get tantric, and let's play some fucking golf. Like make love with this golf course.
Right. Find peace with it. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
slowly
Like
build the mental toughness of the aspect of the game, and everything will be that much smoother.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing golf?
I started playing golf in high school. I played softball in college. And I started playing golf because my softball coach was also the golf coach. And the girl who was my catcher, she was going to school to play golf. I was going to play softball, and she needed a fourth so they could actually go to like the tournaments and get seen and all of those things. So I got like suckered into it. I hated it. I was using driver off par threes, and I like couldn't find a house. Like I was like, I was an athlete. I was good at everything I did. And I've been very like spiritually activated. I haven't known for a long time, but things have just always came easily to me because this mindset has been in the background. It took me a lot of like, deprogramming and stripping a lot of that out to find it again. But it was always there. I always knew I could just do whatever I wanted. Not golf. Not golf. So it humbled me, and it kept me, it like made me walk a path of integrity that I wasn't aware of at first. But when I started tuning into that, I was like, oh, there's something here. And it's been the only thread that I could keep pulling. Like everything else you can master maybe quickly, or you get bored with it. It keeps you outside. You can drink, you can smoke, whatever your like vices are, they're welcome. Right. Come on, bring it to mama. Like bring it to mama. She just allows it. And it's the only sport game that's like played with a ball in like, you have to use the elements. You can't omit them. You have to consider them, bring awareness to them. And that says like, that's the Garden of Eden right there.
Yeah, it's you're not wrong. And I have a similar backstory because I was football, baseball, basketball my whole life, and I could always hang. I played up to high school and always competitive, travel, AAU, all that stuff. And I got to the golf course and I was fucking awful. I was swinging and missing. I couldn't putt to save my life. I mean, my biggest problem was I played baseball as a lefty and I had no lefty clubs, so I started playing righty. But other than that, like it took me that struggle, but just to figure it out. And I think I'm about 7 or 8 years in right now, and I'm shooting I'm like a 14 handicap, so like the mid 80s, mid to high 80s, so consistently. So I got some work to do, but it's every year I'm seeing some progress. But it was so humbling getting to the golf course and not being good at it when it looks like it's the easiest thing to do.
It's so humbling every time you get to the golf course.
Yeah, right. You're not kidding. Yeah. You are not kidding.
Yeah.
I had that issue today out there.
Yeah,
keeps
you honest.
It's I love the conversation because like just the magic and the spiritual stuff about it and the frequencies and just really like that's what like we're saying, the golf is just that vibe where you just find that little bit of peace out there for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so I like to wrap up I don't want to take up too much of your time. I like to wrap up with 3 questions. We'll keep it a little bit in the golf world here. So what's your favorite club in your bag?
52. Just because I get really, really creative with it because I had to for a while. It was the only wedge in my bag, and I don't know. I've just learned to work it a lot of different ways. So it's got a lot of
versatility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I am with my 7-iron. That's literally, I want to hit it high. I can hit it high. I can hit it low. A lot of different things. I can bump and run, whatever the case may be. And the next question is this one's going to be I feel like I'm going to get a really cool answer on this one because of so much travel. What's your favorite course you've ever played?
Oh God. See, that question, the favorites question is always tough for me because they all have their own fucking story. But the one that like shifted me the most was Gamble Sands. It was a different universe. And I like to really see the space, and I went for a walk because I was staying in the bus. So I went for a walk like down the street when you drive into Gamble Sands, and I found this big ass like wire reel that you put like electrical wire on, those wooden pools. It was massive. It was twice my height. It had to be 9 or 10 feet tall, the spool part. So I climbed up on it and I'm like walking on it. It's massive. And I find this snake, this like dead snake skin that was like the shape of an infinity. And the golf course, it like completely activated what we're talking about now, this like shift into like golf mindset mastery. It activated something. So for that reason, and just the space that it gives you out there, like you can see the course, and I mean, it looks like it's on Mars. It's so far away, but you're going to be there in a few holes. So you're like, how's that going to happen? And then you're there and you're like, I remember, 4 holes ago when I was way back
way
there,
over there.
I still have all of that. And it's just this, like, it's so, it really slays any illusions you have about what golf is. So highly recommend Gamble Sands. And I've played a lot of fun rounds there. It's really hard to answer that question, but that's the one that like echoes,
Yeah.
That's
the one.
Mid-Pines.
I love asking that question because people could look at it so many different ways. Like you look at it for like, how you felt when you were there and that kind of thing. Some people answer that question with, I played at this course. It wasn't the nicest course, but the time I had with the boys or something to that extent. So there's I always get a bunch of different answers, or it's like the most popular course. I got to play Pebble Beach, or I got to play, whatever. Got to play Bethpage, stuff like that. So I always get really cool answers on that question. And then to wrap it up, who would be 3 people you would like to put in your dream foursome? Yourself and 3 others.
Marion Hollins, for sure. Oh God. Dude, this one's gonna be a weird answer, but Marion Hollins, Mary Magdalene, and Jesus. That's who.
Okay.
play golf with.
Yeah.
And then we'd come back and all the world's golf problems would be solved. I guarantee.
Yeah, that'd be great. Get me off the tee here, geez. Yeah, I've been playing so good and I just cannot get off. That's why I'm sponsored by Trouble Off the Tee. It's the best sponsor I can have because I just cannot get off the damn tee.
There you go.
Yeah, I always say
And some Caddie Magic.
I need it. And then I always say, almost from being a basketball guy, Jason Williams used to play for the Sacramento Kings, the Miami Heat. White Chocolate was his nickname. He's a cannabis guy, so I'd like to get him in a round of golf. Joe Rogan, I'd like to hear some of the answers to like what he thinks about some of the guests he's had on. And then my last one would be Method Man, because How High was probably my favorite movie of all time. So actually just got to see him for the first time, and he performed. I mean, he's 50-something years old now, but he performed on 420 up here in upstate New York. So it was cool to get a chance to actually see him.
I love it when people live on like that. It's just so fun. It like revives a part of you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm 41 years old, so like to get the chance to see some of the guys that I didn't get a chance to see in my 20s is pretty cool.
But they still
appreciate it more.
Yeah. It's cool.
So I really appreciate your time, Megan. This is super cool. Why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you?
Caddie Magic, Caddie Magic on Instagram. That's pretty much where I live. So we're on Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you ever make your way to the upstate New York area in the Albany area, definitely get in contact. Love to get around to golf in and need all the magic I can get.
There we go. I'm sure I will let you know. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon. Appreciate everybody tuning in to another episode of the Pitch Putt and Puff Podcast.
Boom, roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast scene. Talking Burton Bogies, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, putt, and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough.